West Ham 2, Manchester City 2. We made it hard for ourselves today. Some may say we got a lucky point. Some may say we could have got more. Luke, it was a tough watch in the first half. I think we should talk about the first half first because that's really what let us down. We looked really all over the place. I mean, compare that to our performances against Wolves and Leeds. It was actually diabolical. I mean, Everton were playing in a relegation scrap a couple of hours after us. If you told me that was Everton's defence, I would have believed you. I thought Fernandinho, Laporte, Zinchenko and Cancelo as a collective unit were poor, but particularly Fernandinho and Zinchenko I thought had poor days. What did you think of the overall first half? Jarrod Bowen with 2 goals, sent West Ham into half-time 2-0 up, and at that point I was thinking we are going to blow this, because if we had have lost that game, it would have meant if Liverpool won their remaining games and we beat Villa, it would go to goal difference, which is never a position you want to be in on the final day.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, first half, it's a mess, honestly. I mean, the whole makeshift obviously depends on what we spoke about in the preview. You can see that today. I mean, against a player like Jarrod Bowen and Antonio, who's actually a proper good attack, and actually quite free flowing, and they're able to get that kind of pacing behind. It really punished us today. It could have been maybe more than 2 another day. I mean, it's even the second half we'll go to later on. The defensive issues there. It's just. It was one of those games where I feel like it really did show how our defence is, where it's just not perfect, it's not there, and even Ederson at times just Sherman made a save over the first one. I think I'm not exactly sure, but I think definitely the first one when we went round him. So wasn't great at all. Going forward as well, just wasn't there either. It wasn't clicking the first half, and it just really was a disaster. It was like to finish.
Yeah, I think you'll see our player ratings up on the screen right now, people, and always get involved down below in the comments to let us know what your thoughts on our player ratings. But there's a couple of players that I do want to highlight, for some for good reasons, some for bad reasons, and Ederson is one who is at the brunt of a lot of criticism recently, and probably deservedly so. I mean, you touched on the goal where Jarrod Bowen went around him, and listen, keepers get beaten regularly because players go around them, and that's kind of almost a 50-50 thing. But in terms of Ederson's positioning, I was very disappointed. I thought he was way too far off his line. Thought he wasn't close enough to Bowen to really stop the attack, and he wasn't close enough to his line to make a save or stop the shot. He was in no man's land essentially, and it's these little things with Ederson that seem to add up in big moments recently, because we don't usually we usually have so much of the ball that Ederson can kind of afford to take more risks, but in these big moments recently anyway, it's not worked for Ederson, and it definitely cost us today. Now, it was a scary position going in at 2-0. I felt kind of bad for Laporte, I must say. I mean, I thought Zinchenko had a very poor day all round. I thought Fernandinho had a very poor day all round. He's 37 years old, and he looks every bit of it. He's just not fit to play at this level anymore. He is a club legend, but we're analysing the game we watched today, and there was some decision-making that was mind-blowing for Fernandinho. We could have been 3-0 down. If you remember that back pass that he tried to give back to Ederson, which ended up in the path of Antonio, wasn't it? That was schoolboy stuff. If a schoolboy did that, you'd be saying, what on earth are you doing? It was absolutely mind-boggling. And I think I said this in the preview. I said that if your defence is very solid, it will breed confidence into the rest of the team, and the rest of the team will play with expression and freedom and just overall confidence. And I think the lack of solidity in the defence today, Luke, did actually take away from our attack in the first half, because they were possibly afraid to do things or move it around fast enough in case they made a mistake and expose themselves at the back.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I said just now, like the defence, especially when we have a lot like Diaz and Laporte at the back, with obviously Walker and Cancelo. It's the confidence of the team. You can see, obviously Madrid aside, that's different entirely, but there's always confidence in the team when they're all there. And yeah, today it was just so many errors today that I know obviously we're playing makeshift, so you've got to take that into account. But even so, Laporte, Ederson, it's still established back three technically. Obviously, with Adinho put in there as well. But even for Dino, his experience, he should know what to do there. Even if it is a difficult angle to pass back, hoof it to Ederson if you need to get out of play or put it out for a throw in. Like, there's all these things that it could very easily have been a lot worse today if West Ham were a lot more clinical in terms of Antonio, even Bowen at times as well, because it could have had 3 or 4 today. It's just one of those things where we've obviously, like, I mean, going forward, obviously, it could catch one maybe 4 or 5-2, obviously, if we're going forward today. But that sometimes you have to grind a game out sometimes. And today, we tried doing that today. It would have been a disaster. So, yeah, it's just one of those things. We've just got to learn from that. Especially, obviously, that's got one final game against Villa coming up. We can't be doing that against Watkins or Ings. I know Ings has been a bit on off recently, but he's still a player that can score goals. Especially obviously talk about the Villa game in another video, but these little things that we've got to get out of our game because it's ridiculous how many times it happened today.
Look, at 2-0 at half-time, I was kind of thinking, you can call me crazy for saying this, but it wasn't actually the worst thing in the world. At that point, I was thinking, there was a lot of City fans saying on Twitter, do we just settle and take a 2-0 loss here and don't let our goal difference be damaged too heavily? Because in the first half, it's fair to say, going forward, we were not looking like scoring. West Ham's shape was fantastic. They held their defensive line fantastically. We couldn't break them down. It was almost a mirror of Atletico Madrid's defense. We just could not break it down. And it was a case of, if we're not scoring, we have to just ensure we don't let our goal difference get damaged further. Now, the person I want to highlight next is basically the star of the show for me today, and that is Jack Grealish. You'll see the star beside his name. He got a 9 from us out of 10 today because he was our man of the match on the day. Let us know down in the comments who your man of the match was. We thought, throughout both the first and second half, Jack Grealish was the brightest spark, and he got his rewards. I mean, he was causing serious problems down that left-hand side for the West Ham defence. In the first half particularly, they doubled, tripled, and sometimes quadrupled up on him, which is a compliment to him, but it also meant he had to find new ways to cause trouble. I mean, it created space on the right-hand side for Cancelo and Mahrez, which particularly in the first half, they did not utilise. But anyway, Grealish got his reward when he got his goal. Granted, it was a deflected goal, but he deserved it because he was by far our brightest spark. Luke, what are your thoughts on Grealish today? Without him today, we were not getting a point.
Oh, I agree. It's brilliant today. I said a while ago as well that I think Jack will get better and better as the season goes on, and I'm being proven right now. I think even Big Steve said it a while ago. I think on a stream recently. I hope that we get better and better as the season goes on. So you really are starting to see that now, where he's starting to come into his own. This team now, he's now getting the odd goals now and the assists. It's starting to flow more now, and it's good to see him finally get into his team and become that player that we know he can be. So, yeah, I wasn't surprised to say that he scored a great finish as well. I know it was a deflection, but it's still a great hit from him as well to even get it on target as well. So, it's positive for us that we can at least see him being a bright spark in this team. And yeah, he was unbelievable today. I thought, well, I know obviously he could have got more, but considering the way the team was there overall, he was brilliant in what he could do. I mean, he kept Soufal, on his toes most of the game, and that's a great credit to him that West Ham had to put 4 players in him at times to try and control him. So, yeah, unbelievable performance from him today.
I thought, now listen, as I said, it's a very valuable point because it now means that all we have to do is beat Villa. Now, I'm not trying to discredit Villa or make it sound like it's an easy task because you best believe Steven Gerrard, Philippe Coutinho and that team would love nothing more than to stop City winning the league on our own patch on the final day of the season. So whether you think they have nothing to play for or not, all of a sudden something does become to play for. They will love the idea of handing Liverpool the trophy. There's enough Liverpool DNA in there and it just becomes one of those big days, doesn't it? We have to beat Villa now as a result of today's point. But we have to touch on the penalty situation, which could have meant, had we scored it, that we would only need a draw versus Villa. Jesus earns us a stonewall penalty. It was a good run from Jesus. He did very well, and he was taken down, stole one penalty. And we're thinking, how on earth have we pulled back a 2-0 deficit to be in a position where we're one spot kick away from grabbing all 3 points? And, all but nearly wrapping up the league entirely. And we got humble a little bit. We got brought back down to earth. Riyad Mahrez, who I'm usually very confident in penalties, in recent months anyway, stepped up. And listen, all you want from a penalty taker is to hit the target and hope for the best. But he did that, yeah. But it was just a perfect height for Fabianski. And it was a great save from the keeper as well. And that's why it went from feeling like, the timeline was like, let's not let the goal difference get too bad. Let's hold on to our draw. Let's win it. And then it's, why didn't we win it? So it was an absolute roller coaster of emotions. What were your thoughts when we missed that penalty?
Yeah, it was. I think for me, when I saw the penalty, my immediate thought was it's going to be saved. And then because I'm negative, I just think with penalties, especially with recent years, as you know as well, we've always been quite bad at penalties, especially was it in 2019 to 20 when we just kept missing penalties and couldn't play score to save our lives at times. But obviously this season especially, we've done a lot better at them. Now, I did put out a tweet out saying that I wanted De Bruyne to take it. I was a bit wrong. Mahrez had every right to take the penalty because he scored the last 9, I think, that he's had. So he had every right to take the penalty. It's just obviously, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Obviously, given a lot better height, but sometimes it's just a good save. But I think in this case, as you were right, it should have been a lot harder than that, a lot more difficult for Fabianski to save it. So, Yeah, it's frustrating. I was frustrated because I thought if we could get Nick a win here, it would have been the most deserving of win considering how bad we played. But to get the Nick a win at West Ham, you know, West Ham are this season they're actually a very good team this season. It'd been a great result. Look, a draw is not the end of the world by any means, but as you said, it feeds that narrative into Villa on the final day. Now, before I think Villa do have one game against Burnley on a Thursday. So we do have more rest time between now and that game than Villa do. So that may play a part in it. But we still have to make sure we still have to remember that narrative was still there, no matter what kind of Villa turn up on that day. But the main thing is the penalty. It's frustrating, but I'll take the draw because we were in the first half.
If you had told me at the very start of the season that if we just get to the last game of the season and win it, we'll be the champions. Now, is it a fairy tale similar to 93-20? Will it be like that on the 10-year anniversary? Who knows? But we're all set up for a blockbuster. All four of us from the age 94, me, Joe, Dara, and Luke, we're all going to the game. We will do a preview for that, of course. I don't know what sort of content we'll make after the game. We'll look into that. But listen, Blues, whatever you feel about today's draw or drop points, or two drop points, whatever, take great confidence from the fact that we are within 90 minutes and one win away from winning the Premier League. Yes, we could have got ourselves a step closer today, but we are one step away, one game, one cup final, and hopefully our defensive woes don't come back to bite us in the arse next week as well. But listen, it was an interesting game today, and I want to say before we wrap up as well, congratulations to Mark Noble on a fantastic career. Congratulations to West Ham on a great game today. I think they're a fantastic club, West Ham. I really like their fan base, and yeah, classy people, so big up to them. We will very much make plenty of content now leading up to this final title decider this week, so do keep an eye out for that. Let us know all your thoughts down below in the comments on everything we said in this video. Leave a like as well if you would. It helps us massively, and subscribe if you're new. And we'll see you very, very soon with some new videos. Good night and God bless.